Well, that's new.
Guess
We've never seen that
yeah.
from Zoom before, just in case there was any doubt. There it is. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the work group for Envision Athens agriculture domain. Abundance Athens is what we call ourselves, and we meet on typically a monthly basis. And historically, we began meeting to specifically target the need for increased fresh food access to underserved parts of Athens, Clarke County. And then with the pandemic, we shifted our approach to widen and consider food needs more generally. And as we know, there was a lot of food insecurity and increasing amounts of that over this past year. And so I really appreciate the collaborative energy of this group. We'll dive into the agenda in just a moment, but first let's do very quick introductions. If you can prepare to unmute, I will call your name. If you could just share with us your name and affiliation, we will get started. And if this is your first Envision Athens meeting, we always commit to be done within the hour. So no worries if you have a 2 p.m. commitment. So my name is Erin Barger. I'm the project manager of Envision Athens. Happy to be with you today. John, let's go to you next.
Hey everybody, John Morris, project coordinator with Envision Athens.
Aditi.
Hello, I'm Aditi. I'm a community development fellow with Envision.
Amanda.
Hi everyone, I'm Amanda. I'm the communications fellow with Envision.
Margot.
Hi, my name is Margot Candelario. I'm an owner of Young Female Farmers in Bishop.
Welcome. Good to see you again, Margot.
Thank you.
Mr. Boone.
Yes, I'm Richard Boone. I'm with the Food Bank of Northeast Georgia. I'm the interim executive director right now, and I was one of the founders 28 years ago that started the Food Bank of Northeast Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. Meredith.
Hey everybody, my name is Meredith Lysod. I am a project manager over at the Athens Area Community Foundation, but today I'm here as an intern at the Athens Land Trust.
Many hats. Mary Barrett.
Hey, I'm Mary Barrett Yancey. I'm the county director for Clarke and Oconee County DFACS offices.
Catherine.
Catherine Gurak. I'm the community health worker at St. Mary's in Athens.
Molly.
Hi, my name is Molly Richardson, and I am also a fellow with Envision Athens.
Sherry.
Hi, I'm Sherry Anderson. I'm with the Marigold Market and Collective in Winterville.
And if you're just joining, we are just doing very simple introductions, name and affiliation. So that's what's happening if you're just getting audio access. Mark Madison.
Hey, I'm Mark Madison with the United Way of Northeast Georgia and 211.
Josh Podman.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Josh Podman with the Office of Service Learning at UGA.
Janine.
Hi, yes, good afternoon. My name is Janine Delane, and I am the recruitment coordinator for the University of Georgia SNAP-Ed program. And I'm also here representing a couple different hats there with our nutrition resources, as well as the board chair for the Farm to Neighborhood program.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome. Angie.
Hey there, guys. My name is Angie Moon de Avila, the coordinator for the Early Head Start and Head Start program for the Clarke County School District.
Welcome, Angie.
Thank you.
Caroline.
You mean Caroline Broom, correct? Sometimes
yes, thank you.
Caroline's. Hi, I'm Caroline Broom, and I am the Outreach and Marketing Assistant at Daily Groceries Co-op.
Great, welcome. Lizette.
Hi everyone, I'm Lizette. I work with Family Connections Community and Schools, and I'm the neighborhood leader for the J.J. Harris Empowerment Zone.
Thank you, Lizette. Good to see you. Jerry or Dr. Shannon.
Jerry is fine. I'm Jerry Shannon. I'm faculty in geography and financial planning, housing, and consumer economics at the University of Georgia.
And then we have a colleague from MedLink, Joan.
Yes, I'm Joan Lewis. I'm from MedLink, Georgia, the outreach coordinator.
Welcome. Sarah and Abigail.
Hey, Sarah Thurman.
And I'm Abigail Darwin. My pronouns are she, hers.
And we're with Athens Farmers Market.
Welcome. That was very coordinated, guys. Good job. Mayor Dodd.
Here I am. I'm multi-meeting. Sorry, I'm Dodd Farrell. I'm Sherry's assistant for the Marigold Market and the Mayor of Winterville.
Welcome. And then I think last, never least, Patrick Howard. Patrick, we're just doing introductions.
Hey, how's it going? Patrick Howard, neighborhood leader with Family Connections, Communities and Schools. I'm finishing up some deliveries, so hello to everyone.
Thanks, Patrick. Good to see you. Always on the move. So if you'll note in the chat box, I just posted our agenda, which is a little bit more freeform than our meetings often are. In the past, we've had some specific targeted conversations about some of our success measures related to fresh food access, the Marigold Market, the Fresh Food Hub that's in development, expanding the Farm RX program. I thought that this particular month would be a good opportunity to pull back a little bit and take a Zoom level view and just invite open conversation about your perceptions of food access generally. So the levels of food insecurity or security generally speaking, and then access to fresh food at this point in time, as well as share any agency updates that you have. And rather than going line by line in the agenda, I introduce it that way because I think for someone, for instance, like Mary Barrett, with DFACS, your perspective and your perception of food insecurity and food needs directly connects to what might also be your agency update related to WIC and SNAP. So I would just love to open the floor. And if the silence is too awkward, I will call on people to help us along. But this is one of those meetings that would be a lot easier to do in person. We're not quite there yet. I think we'll be coming back together in person, hopefully in August or September. But let's make the most of the next 45 minutes we have together. I'll start off by inviting Mark and Josh. Just from your perspectives, you have by nature a bit more of a overarching view through your respective roles with 211 and then GivePulse. We'd love to hear from you guys regarding your sense, at least anecdotally, of food needs based on your perspectives.
I guess, Mark, you're willing to let me jump first. I don't know if I can speak accurately to the food needs, but I can talk a little bit just broadly about what we've been doing to collect all of the food distributions in the community and continue to share those resources, and then publishing a bi-weekly digest, which I feel like is getting great traction and is helping to draw out other distributions that are happening. And we're continuing to try and update that information as it changes. Mark sent along some updated information this morning. So I appreciate the collaborative nature of this group and just trying to help locate all that information in one space. For those of you who haven't been receiving those updates, I'll put my contact information in the chat and you're welcome to reach out. I'll also post the GivePulse page where those food distributions are listed in an ongoing basis. So, but thus far, we've just been continuing to call and verify and publish distributions as we can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Thanks, Josh. And part of why I asked Josh to go first because I was actually pulling up a number from
April and then to June. So we saw a small bump in like number of folks from Clark County calling 211 about food resources. I don't think it's significant enough to say it's a growing challenge right now. I think we'll see more of a, I would say I'd love to hear from more of those who actually are literally there when you're doing a distribution, kind of what you're seeing, and also state of family really in that same scenario, like how the person's doing. How do you actually know about it? Because that's going to be, I think that's really valuable stuff that we can't know from kind of our vantage point. But as far as I know from kind of what we're looking at is as things come down for the moratorium or rent, everything constricts. And so it's, while that's huge for the housing conversation, it's similarly a massive issue for, well, do I just not go get food for this month so I make sure I can finally pay a bit of rent, or even if it's even possible. So I think those are some things that we're expecting to see. But we have for the past couple of months, we've had some down 211 calls, and that's been the case since a lot of the stimulus monies came in, and during the moratorium, we see less. A lot of people know to call 211 for rent or food, but they don't always know to call for other things. So we know that when that comes back due in a lot of different ways, we'll see those kind of things shoot back up again. But for those who don't know, because it's worth mentioning, 211's our helpline. If you are anywhere in the region of Northeast Georgia, or really most of the state of Georgia, you can call 211. We locally manage our resource database. So we connect with people like Josh, like Tim, and all the neighborhood leaders and Family Connection and the various family connections in our region to make sure that information's up to date. And then we correspond with them so that if anyone reaches out to us, either by calling the 3-digit number 211 or texting 898-211, you can get connected to resources. And those can be food, shelter, whatever it might be that you need. So one of the biggest things for us is making sure people know there's not just one thing you can call for, but there's actually a myriad of resources in the community that if you get connected, we can tap into those other pieces. And you can use our website to peruse and also map whenever you need. So let's make sure everybody's aware of that. But like Josh said, still keeping that up to date. People are still pushing out the resources. Food, I'd say this because we've seen it for a while now. Food is almost always something we have a lot of people responding with. It's that coordination piece that's oftentimes the piece that we are looking to get filled. But I think this group has done a good job of helping that really happen in a good way. So well done.
Yeah, appreciate that. And thanks for dropping the link to Give Pulse. Mark, if there's anything you want to share so that folks can reach out and connect to 211, feel free to drop that in the chat box as well. So related to mapping and understanding kind of the high level view of where and how our neighbors are experiencing food insecurity. Dr. Shannon, I know we've had some offline conversations about some student work at UGA in that regard. Can you share an update? I know that you are meeting with Eve in the near future. Some of the evaluation data from Athens Eats Together. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would echo a lot of what Mark said in terms of, I think the on the ground perspective is probably a more accurate one in terms of where things are at right now. Those things tend to kind of more trickle up to some of the data that I would have available. And sorry if I've got like trucks driving by. In terms of the work with Athens Eats Together, that there's some students in Hilda Kurtz's class this last spring who did some analysis of that data, I think particularly around accessibility to various kinds of transit issues. So accessibility to bus stops. They created a map of all the bus stops in Athens and where people can get access to that, as well as sidewalk data, and trying to understand kind of the people who are using that program, where were they positioned within the county, and where are places where maybe they were a little more vulnerable because of lack of transit access or lack of any kind of accessibility besides car. And so, yeah, I'm talking, it took a while to kind of sort out in the collapse at the end of the semester as we all reached the finish line, trying to figure out what the kind of what they had gotten done. And then I'm going to talk with Eve in the beginning of July and talk through like what are the additional questions they still want to answer. I don't have anything kind of beyond that to report at this point, but that's where the status of that is.
Yeah, understood. I think our maybe collective hope is that going into August, we will have some increased insight and ability to kind of apply that and determine how this group can best coordinate to respond to some new insights or understanding about where and how people are experiencing food insecurity.
Yeah, and I mean, I would imagine just from a cursory look, what I would say is, it's not. I don't think it's going to be surprising to anyone. Like the areas of where folks are kind of least positioned in terms of resources are going to be north side, beyond the loop, and east side to some extent as well. We'll have more detail once we get a chance to sit down and really look at it.
Got you. And then Mr. Boone, I would love to hear from your perspective. The food bank we know and appreciate has been incredibly consistent throughout the pandemic. Do you have any thoughts to share regarding demand, increase in demand, and your thoughts on how our neighbors are experiencing this?
Well, I had a meeting last week. Of course, we have a branch here in Athens. We also have one in Clayton. I have some concerns going forward in the near future that some of the money that's been coming into some of the families is going away. A lot of these same families does not have a job. So consequently, I can see a major decline in their income. So we're gearing up for increase in poundage that we need to ship out of here. We're going to do about 1 million pounds a month. So also we really got some good news that I thought I had it right here in front of me. I was concerned. We've been calling the politicians and everything to make sure we continue to get the money through from the USDA. We cannot afford as a food bank, which most of them can't, to go out and purchase on the market, even though we have to, especially for the food for kids. But we got yesterday, I got some information that USDA to invest $1 billion to purchase healthy food for food insecure Americans and build food bank capacity. So that is great news for us. So we'll continue to get the food coming down from the USDA. We have to pay freight, stuff like that sometimes. But most of the time, then we can supplement with, we're getting more healthy food. We're getting some of our wholesale partners that are really bringing in. Matter of fact, I had to run 2 trucks to one of them today, 2 tractor trailers to pick up healthy food. So I can see a major, and I'd like some input from someone else to see if they have the same concern I do about. I'm not sure. Well, not sure. I'm pretty sure that a lot of these people didn't put back a lot of money. Okay. Then once they're gonna wake up, like I say, with no income from the government and no job either. So I can see where we gonna get a run on the need. So, and I'd like some input from anyone else that has the same thought process. But we're in a good position and ongoing. I feel really comfortable for the rest of this year that we'll have an ample amount of food to supply from both of the divisions that we have out there. We just hired a horticulture to start back up working on our garden. We got some people out there now that people don't know what we do have a small garden. We do get some produce out of it, but it's more for training than it is for raising food, because we can't raise enough food in that small plot out there to make a big effect on the local need. But yeah, I just like some input to see if you feel the same way, that coming down in the near future that we're gonna have some increased needs.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate your insight there, and that's a great opportunity to segue to some of our neighbors on the ground, Lizette and Patrick. I'll come to you next. And Mark mentioned one of the key factors, which is the CDC eviction moratorium ending, and Mr. Boone, you alluded to the other, the additional unemployment benefits ending. I think those 2 factors might come together to create some increased instability just in the household income and budgeting. So Lizette, Patrick, would love any thoughts you have in your interactions with folks. What's your sense of what's next for them?
Well,
Yeah, so, do you want to go, Patrick?
No, Lizette, after you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I could speak a little bit to that. So I actually also work part-time with the Fondo Solidario. We provide like emergency rental assistance for undocumented families, emergency utility assistance as well. And so in that, we do know the moratorium is coming up to an end, and at the same time, our grant funding is coming up to an end as well. So we're seeing like the double impact of that. So we are seeing, more eviction notices, more disconnection notices for utilities. So yeah, it's kind of all coming to a head right now.
Thank you. Patrick?
Lizette took the words right out of my mouth. But no, I mean, pretty much everyone's on the same page when it comes to that. Like I said, and I hate to say this, but even in the midst of this pandemic, I think some residents have gotten comfortable with the assistance, and they hadn't really put the forethought into how are things going to look after this is over and done. So, most of them probably haven't been saving. Most of them probably haven't been making some wise choices just to make sure that they're in a place where they're still able to function to a certain extent so they can continue to care for themselves or their loved ones. So I feel like the need for food was there before the pandemic. The pandemic just shedded a bright light on it and put people in a place where they were able to help more. And I feel like that increase from the pandemic may lessen a little, but not a whole lot. And I still have residents that I'm delivering food to because of lack of transportation and so forth. And some of the things that were actually brought to light when it came to just the Athens Coalition call, when we were just talking about just housing or whatever, ties into food too. When it just comes to just, credit, when it comes to low income, when it comes to, the evictions, when it comes to just mental health, when it comes to affordable childcare, all those things, like all of it to me ties in together. And what I've been telling my residents is, even if you don't need the food right now, take it, because of the fact that will free up funds for other things that you can actually be able to, cover when it comes to your rent or, your utilities or, of course, I mean, the funny thing is, I mean, even with internet, it's becoming to a certain extent a necessity, because of, kids, from home and everything else. So I don't see the need going anywhere. I mean, I see it kind of staying where it is now. And we just need to make sure we're in a place where we still can care for people.
I appreciate it. I'm not sure what our community would have done without the people who just spoke. So the food bank and Mr. Boone and neighborhood leaders, as well as the coordinating of 211 and GivePulse. So appreciate everyone. I'd like to kind of bounce over to a discussion and kind of a check-in on SNAP and WIC. Before we make that move in the conversation, any other thoughts or questions for neighborhood leaders or Mr. Boone about food pantries and neighborhood access? I see Angie, go for it.
I was wondering if, so Josh, you were saying that you can add people on the, basically on the email update on, food distributions. And I was wondering, is that something where parents can get added to it, or is it just meant for agency personnel?
The list is public, and if parents, families want to be added to the distribution list, they're welcome to. I do know that the Clark County School District is pointing toward this page, and they've been pushing that out as well. But any individual that you'd like added, if you have an Excel list of folks, I'm happy to upload those folks and add them as well.
And so I coordinate early Head Start and Head Start for the Clark County School District, and we're about to start paperwork with families for children who are going to go to school next year. And so I was thinking that I could add little, like, do you want us to add you to the food distribution list? But I didn't want to do that if, and so it might be something that would be trickling in by case manager. And anyway, so that's good news to hear that they can automatically get access to that information. And then I had one other question that I have actually forgotten. So I will,
Angie, one comment I'd make about that is like I said, I'm happy to add anyone to the distribution list. I guess the one concern or the one consideration I would have is if you think that that messaging might be better received from you as like sharing that with the families as you're a trusted, connection for them. So like Aaron shares the list out, or Aaron and John share it out, and other folks. So I fully welcome anyone who receives this to also pass it on to families. So I'm happy to work it either way for you that works best.
and I'm going to take it back to my team and see how they feel about it. But personally, I would like to put it into the hands of the families so that they are learning how to access the resources. That we wouldn't just like add them to the list and forget about it, because we're constantly coordinating resources for the families. So, I mean, we receive food to kids and have a huge partnership with WIC. So yes, thank you.
Thanks, Angie. And then connected to that, that's a brilliant connection. Angie, I'm wondering, Mary Barrett, I know Denise is not with us today, but this might also be an opportunity for folks actually on both sides of DFACS, OFI and child support and protection to share that resource in whatever way you're comfortable.
Oh, I send it out to staff every time I get it. And we actually send it out to, Denise sends it to some counties neighboring because it overlaps with some of the families we serve, but our staff get it and use it. My hope would be with that is that there's a discussion point for whoever is connecting families to make sure that families going to get food resources have also applied for benefits if they are eligible. Because I think making sure we have that sustainability, even though it's not the most money, it is something that goes back to Patrick's point, money that can be used in certain ways to help bridge the gap where they need to pay for other services.
So like we are in the process of applying to be a Gateway community partner. And so that might be one way other agencies can do that. I know Family Connections working on that as well for all the neighborhood leaders. I'm not sure if any of the other entities on the call who provide direct services are aware of how to do that.
Yeah. Janine, I see that you have a hand up and would love to hear more about your work as well. I bet you have a lot to share with us.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And I just had a couple of thoughts as Angie was speaking as it related to the school district. Angie, another thing we can think about is just also encouraging the school district to upload through the school websites, because they send those newsletters home, very regularly to parents that they kind of get used to getting in their email regarding all the school resources. If we can include those links, those linkages within that school resource, I think that would be a great start. And then that would reach the total school mass, and we get people familiar. I know what you're saying about connecting the family with the resource. So since they're used to looking at that newsletter for all the updates regarding school needs, and being that food insecurity is still a part of the community needs, that may be a way we can link it into the school district. And then that's that question. That's my LSGT comment. And now I'm back on the other comments. And just really quick, I wear so many different hats around food distribution in the community, but I just wanted to throw out there that, we just had a conversation last weekend with a great distribution that went out over the weekend. However, there was always the obstacle of getting the food into the hands of the people. Great intent, central location, but who knows about it? and what's the distribution plan? So I would love to continue to throw out into the community, and I'll leave my resources and emails in the chat as well. But some of the things I was suggesting, we know transportation becomes an issue that, we try to mitigate that issue eventually with what we're doing with our farm to neighborhood, where we'll actually be a mobile unit going into housing communities and neighborhoods to bring the produce into the actual community itself. That's one program initiative of how we're looking to help close these gaps and then make that become kind of a new normal. But in the side of just what we're doing, other agencies who may actually host distributions yourself still consider the idea of bringing food into communities. I was suggesting to the last distribution last weekend, just within the housing authority alone, they all have centers. Some of them historically have been food distribution sites in the past, but that's always a sure way to get food into the hands of residents. So we're not throwing away food, at the end of the Saturday afternoon, because, so you figure, Rock Springs has, 250 units, Broad Acres has 160 residents, et cetera. Just put 100 boxes there, 200 boxes there. Just talk to Rick, get the centers opened up. So at least, those are gone, and then you also can cross collaborate with other sites where people can drive in. But don't forget about those hidden treasures of centers that are right in neighborhoods where people can just walk out of their home and get the food and take it back. And they don't have to worry about catching a ride or did you see it on Facebook, things like that. So don't forget those hidden resources there. I just wanted to throw that out there, and because it seems like we continue to struggle with getting the information to the people to know that this stuff is available. And I see this in a lot of areas, not just here in Clark County, because my role with the university is throughout the state. So I'm not just, picking on us here, but this is something, so it definitely is going to take a lot of collaborating, to get information to the people so that they actually know that these resources are available.
Jenny, thank you. Your point is perfectly timed. And I think this might be your first meeting with us, but we were literally at the point as a group of seeing the sunset of Athens Eats Together, which I think most of us know helped our community go beyond our normal previous level of service by providing, door-to-door food delivery. And, our sense of that is that it provided a significant difference in increasing access to food. So not everyone can access, the way that food is currently made available. So again, it's a both and. The food bank does an incredible job of supplying food, and our faith-based community does a pretty impressive job of, locating and supplying and sourcing across the community. But, we learned through Athens Eats Together, and I think we're learning through Farm to Neighborhood that both and approach is really impactful. And Janine, I know that it was wonderful to see Farm to Neighborhood, at least the announcement of some funding from local government to provide that mobile delivery. It's okay if it's not timely right now, but if today or soon you have information about when and where and how that will be available, I think everyone on this call would be happy to share that information and celebrate what you're doing, and also kind of help with that communication gap that we can sometimes experience.
Right. Well, just really brief, because we do have so many things that are budding with the program currently, and we have already, we were a recipient of the local funding to help with the indigent population and with food insecurity. That distribution is already in motion. It started just a few weeks ago and will go throughout August. And so we'll actually be impacting over 300 families a week with food distribution of prepackaged meals that's already kind of allocated for, in addition to 100 bags of fresh produce that'll be going out from the Farm to Neighborhood program. So those families that have already joined in with that initiative is allocated for. So it's not like we just have a free distribution site, if you will. So those families had signed up through online advertisement and things like that, leading into the grant. And so that's what's going on. But we're really excited too about outside of the local grant that we received, other initiatives that we've been seeking out for, where we're actually now in the works of preparing a brand new, fully equipped mobile truck. So then that won't be a truck with a trailer. We have two things going on, a truck with a trailer. But outside of that, we're producing a full mobile refrigerated truck that will be able to meet the real vision of what we had in regards to setting up the culture around the nutrition resources, not only just having the food resources available, but also coupling that with education so that we can help get the community sustained in healthy choices and how to eat healthy on a budget, and how to cook nutritious meals in under 20 minutes. So that'll have educational resources, that'll have food demoing, and all of that great stuff coupled with the food as that begins to take off into the community. So we just got funding in on that. And so could be about a 6-month build out process for the new truck, but we're definitely excited about that. And welcome any type of information or resources that would be rendered on behalf of the different community agencies that you can share with us. But we'll definitely keep, and that's a part of my attending this meeting, like I said, in the twofold of my SNAP Ed resources, and in addition to Farm to Neighborhood, because we know Rashi is very busy and she's in 1,000 meetings a day. And I already had an invite here through SNAP Ed. So I said, okay, well, let me just kind of sit in on both seats of the platform, so that way I can also communicate what's happening here and kind of be a liaison for the Farm to Neighborhood as well as SNAP Ed.
That's great. And I see Patrick has his hand raised. Before we go to him, I think the two questions in the chat are maybe different ways of asking the same thing, which is the opportunity to access food through Farm to Neighborhood closed, or are there additional opportunities? So if someone isn't yet on the list, could they be added, or are there additional distribution opportunities that could happen in the future?
Yes. Yeah, it's not a totally closed situation. It's just that this particular grant allocation is already allotted for, but you can definitely find Farm to Neighborhood on all of your major social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, and definitely can always inbox if you have families or an organization that you would like to link in for future. That'll definitely be something that can be welcomed. We don't really anticipate a dropout maybe of the things that are allocated for now, but you never know. So definitely just make a communication through the social media, and you can express your interest for yourself or your organization there, and we can get back to you, okay? And also farmtoneighborhood@gmail.com is an email link. I can
yeah, if you wouldn't mind,
chat. Okay,
that'll be perfect. And then let's go to Patrick and then talk a little bit more about SNAP and WIC, and then would also love to hear an update from our market friends. So Patrick, you're next.
Well, man, I'm definitely excited about everything that was just shared by you, and I feel like my phone calls have been tapped, and I think someone has actually been in my actual notebook, because most of the stuff that you just said were things that I thought about and was hoping would happen in the community. So I'm definitely excited about that. Also, want to let you know that I'm definitely interested in, finding more about the program and opportunities to partnership with you, because of the fact that I think this is a prime opportunity for us as a community to not just provide food, but also provide ways of eating healthy and spending less, so that we can try to counteract the obesity that's hitting all cultures, but then also having more funds available for other things too. So definitely enjoyed hearing everything you had to share, even though you stole some of my notes. But I would love to do some, I guess partner with you and collaborate with you when it comes to serving the community.
Awesome. Janine, I think you can feel the enthusiasm this group has, so please come back. I'm glad you're here with us. Angie, we'll go to you and then move on to SNAP WIC and then markets before we close out.
So since we're on the subject of WIC, I just wanted to mention that the Clark County School District Early Head Start and Head Start program has signed a memorandum of agreement with the Clark County Board of Health. And in August, we hope to begin on-site WIC clinics where any child in the Early Learning Center with the parent permission can participate in on-site WIC clinics where, you know, they'll basically do everything. Staff will be assigned to our building on certain dates. And then they will come back every 3 months to do the, you know, reassessments as children progress into different age groups. We serve pregnant women and children under the age of 4 at the Early Learning Center. So we're really excited about that opportunity. And we held our first joint training between WIC and our Head Start program. So we start literally taking the WIC applications on Monday for the families who have been selected for Early Head Start and Head Start for the upcoming school year. That's it.
That's phenomenal. Thank you.
We track WIC uptake and collect data on that. And this will allow us to, rather than going through family report, we'll be able to access data directly from WIC as to whether our participants are enrolled. And, you know, that's been one of our challenges is tracking the number of income eligible children who, the number of children who are income eligible for WIC. What is their uptake and then what is their redemption? You know, they get enrolled, but then they're not using it. And or they're, you know, losing their certification because they're not following up.
Understood. And speaking of WIC, Angie, I know you're well aware of this, and Mary Barrett, there is an increase in WIC funding per family, and John is sharing that information. This is something we're happy to share in the note through September 30th of this year. So just wanted to note that for people who are accessing WIC, there is an increased benefit amount for those families for the next few months. Related to SNAP and WIC, the only other, I think, lingering opportunity, which is an exciting one, is similar to the WIC outreach that Angie just mentioned. And congratulations on that, Angie. That is tremendous news. We know that Family Connection also has an application in with the state office to do SNAP outreach and engagement. I'm not sure if there's an update on that application. Mary Barrett, I don't know if you would happen to know anything about it, or Patrick or Lizette.
Are you talking about the decal community transformation for food insecurity?
No.
Okay.
No, but that's also an exciting opportunity, but separate from this. This is for Family Connection and neighborhood leaders to be like a state outreach partner so that they could literally have the opportunity to enroll individuals for SNAP benefits directly. So that application is in, and I'm looking forward to an update on that whenever we have it.
Yeah, I think they're still trying to work out some things when it pertains to just the training that we have to go through for as individual neighborhood leaders. Hopefully we'll be hearing something soon so we can, move forward with that program and be able to impact the community with those resources.
Great. Okay, thank you.
The community transformation grant is they're going to announce awardees supposedly on June 9th.
Okay, that's tomorrow. So yeah, great. Okay, Mary Barrett, anything else from you from the DFACS perspective, OFI, SNAP, any updates from your perspective on how things are going?
So I've tried to look and see if there was a concrete update on the PBET and summer stuff. I don't, what I see our updates are is that it's in the works and they are moving fast and furiously to get some information out, especially as it relates to summertime benefits. So hopefully we'll hear something about that soon. What I did see in that update is if parents are receiving that for their children, they need to make sure to hold on to those cards. So if y'all are networking and communicating with them, it will be reissued on those same cards. It looks like they are going to be setting up some separate ways to communicate to hopefully streamline that process a little bit better. I was going to give y'all a better update about renewals, but what we're seeing as some of the families who have not been renewed twice over the pandemic period are getting renewals, but for this group, I don't have information to specify who is getting renewed, but there are still some automatic renewals flowing through the system to help families with that process. We are still in a telework environment for staff. We received notice. We were previously operating under a memo that we were waiting until July 1st. That has now been extended until September. However, if there are individuals who cannot apply online or over the phone or with a paper application, and they do need an appointment, we have a virtual lobby system so we can set up appointments for individuals to come into the office. So we do have that access if the other methods are not sufficient. We have not had a significant number of requests for people to come into the office. I think individuals prefer to stay at home if they could, but it is an option. Other than that, I am not aware of too many other updates. I will share with y'all, and I can put it in the chat. The state of DFACS has a State of Hope grant that y'all may have heard about before. Some entities may be interested in exploring it. The deadline to apply is June the 18th. It is always announced with a very small window, but I'll put the link if anybody is interested. There's a nice little YouTube video from Director Rawlings in there. So if it is something that matches anything your organizations are doing and you're interested in putting in an application, please feel free to do so.
That's great, Mary Barrett. You shared a lot of helpful updates. One really key takeaway, I think, for this group, especially Lizette and Patrick, if you guys wouldn't mind to pass along to other neighborhood leaders, is that folks need to keep that PEBT card since benefits will be reloaded. I think that's something that will be time saving and important because I think those benefits made a pretty critical difference for families.
And Aaron, I want to mention one other thing, and I will double check the resource list. So we also have a general assistance process through our office that can provide some help with utilities and rent. It is a minimal amount of money, and it is not for, if someone is getting evicted, it's too late to tap into this money. Or if, say for instance, the power bill has gotten to where it's $1,000 due, it's a little too late for that. But for some of the other families who are just needing some support to move through, families can tap into that every 6 months if eligible. So I will make sure that is updated on the resource list as well.
And well, and that's actually, I think, helpfully complementary, because many programs related to rent assistance, you actually need to show threat of eviction. So the fact that this is pre-eviction threat is actually helpful, right? I see some heads nodding from all of us who have tried to help people not get evicted before. That's one of the most difficult things. So
Don't get too excited. We don't
yeah,
have
I
a
know.
lot of money.
Yeah.
We got to stretch our dollars.
Also, for better or worse, I've been around that block a few times. So that was my guess, but I appreciate it. So guys, we have about 10 minutes left, and this has been robust and really helpful. Thanks for all the updates. I would love to give our market managers and representatives the opportunity to speak, and also wanted to note that SNAP doubling is a key part of this conversation. And thanks to a lot of the leadership on this call, we have some stakeholders who engage in SNAP doubling, and that includes the Athens Farmers Market, the West Broad Market, and Daily Co-op, who are all represented here. And I think Marigold Market probably has an announcement in that regard and is headed in that direction as well. So why don't we just do kind of a quick popcorn around the market representatives today and hear anything that you all would like to share. Sherry, can we start with you?
Yep, that's great. Yeah, so our market's doing good. We've got a really good balance of farmers coming in, a good ratio, to the whole collective of the vendors. We did get approved to participate with Wholesome Wave for next season, so that's exciting, moving forward with that. And Mayor Dodd and I have been discussing potential dollars from the monies that are coming into the city from the American Recovery Act, to help with our SNAP doubling for this season. And I'm also working with him to create what we can present to the city for helping with food insecurities in this regard, because it is a big issue. I'm also excited to announce that one of our farmers accepts WIC. And so we now can have people come to our market. I mean, they would have to, redeem their WIC from that particular farmer, but it's a wonderful asset to have and a great partnership. So I'm real excited about that. And I'm hoping that, John, that you'll include that graphic in the emails whenever you send that out. So yeah, and I'm with Janine on just trying to get the word out more. We've got great support from residents of Winterville for the market and for the food hub, but there's still a gap. And I would really like to see, one of our main focuses is that it's affordable. And so we really want to draw in the people that are in the community that have those food insecurities. And then that goes into the food hub. We've had a great response from producers on providing produce for us to have to give to the community. And we've been able to help those in the community. And sometimes I'm just up there at the pit, we call it the pit, but just up there at the park. And then when people come by, I'll just ask them, hey, do you guys need food? Because I've got some fresh vegetables here. And so that's kind of working out well too. And to hear the people come and say how grateful they are, it just makes such a big difference. So I think that's all I've got though.
That's great. And Sherry, you said that SNAP doubling will happen in partnership with Wholesome Wave next season.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I hear that correctly. That's great news. I was actually in Winterville Friday and heard the talk of the town related to Marigold Market, and that made me very happy. So congratulations, that's exciting, and thank you. Next, let's hear from Meredith related to West Broad, and then Sarah and Abigail related to Athens Farmers Market and Farmer X.
Hey everybody. So the West Broad Farmers Market is having another in-person market. We had one earlier this season, so this is, I believe, the second one. It's going to be on Juneteenth. And at that market, they're offering free Johnson & Johnson vaccines on site for anybody who shows up, no registration needed. And then also Wholesome Wave, who we partner with for the grant that I'm working on, is going to be there, and they're going to be on site to help people enroll in SNAP benefits, answer any questions about SNAP, and answer any questions about WIC and other programs. So that's really the only update I know right now about the market, but that's what's going on.
Great. And if you haven't heard, everyone, there is a Juneteenth celebration at Triangle Plaza on, is it June 19th in the afternoon? I will be there. John will be there. I'm hoping many of us will be there. So really looking forward to that.
It's going to be 4 to 8, and I actually have the graphic. I can send it to John and he can get it out to you guys.
Yeah.
Because I meant to mention that whenever I talk. Sorry about that.
No, that's great. And that will be coming out on our social and newsletter as well. So we'd love to see everyone there. Okay, before we wrap up, Sarah and Abigail, and then I see Patrick with hand raised also. Sarah, Abigail, what's your update, friends?
Sure. So I know earlier you were talking about like changes in demands for food. Our EBT is like weekly reimbursement is kind of hit a consistent amount, which makes me think the same people are coming back every week. It's also running at the higher numbers that we saw in 2020 relative to like what we were seeing in 2019. So it's staying up higher, but it's not changing very much. And then with PharmRx, we are a few weeks into our program. We're running the program in English and in Spanish. And our food through Collective Harvest still, so that participants have kind of the ability to customize ahead of time and come and pick up at Collective Harvest. I think we'd like to return all of them to the market soon, but for now, since the program is bigger, it's more efficient, or it's like, yeah, it's just more tenable to run it through Collective Harvest. And the classes are online through Cooperative Extension, and yeah, it's going great.
Thank you. And then I think you might have mentioned this, but if you're new to the call, PharmRx is Food as Real Medicine prescription program, and has made really impactful differences in the lives of people with specific chronic health conditions. Is that right, Sarah?
Yeah, we partner through Mercy to support low-income individuals with diet-related illnesses by providing fruit and vegetable prescriptions, and then tailoring it with nutrition education, financial literacy courses, and transportation support.
Awesome. Thank you. And Patrick, did you have something?
Yes, Juneteenth, there's going to be a Juneteenth event in Rolling Ridge from 7 to 10 p.m. They did something last year as well. And that's going to be actually headed up by Broderick, who was one of the neighborhood leaders. And then in the Fowler Zone, we're also going to be doing a second community canvas for fire safety on on June 19th as well, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So anyone that wants to volunteer, promote fire safety and get some steps in, you can meet me in the parking lot at 10 a.m. Fowler Drive Elementary.
Thanks, Patrick. And Patrick and anyone else, if you have support needs or opportunities, if you'd like some helping hands from this group, feel free to send those opportunities to John or I, and we will include those so that people can kind of track. We share a lot in these meetings, so I don't think that everyone will be able to remember all the opportunities to engage. So thank you so much. And then before we sign off, Caroline, I know that you're representing Daily Co-op today, and you also do SNAP doubling. How is that going? And is there anything this group can do to support that activity?
So I'm actually very new to the position. I started at the end of May. So this is kind of my, I'm still getting my feet wet and acquainted with the position. But one of the things that I've noticed is we don't have as much involvement as I would hope. And so I think my goal as outreach and marketing assistant at this point is to just create more awareness surrounding that for our organization or our market. And it was really helpful to sit in on this meeting and hear everything that's going on so that I can continue to network and kind of put the word out there for all of our customers to just gain awareness across the board.
Great. Caroline, I know it's time to sign off, but I have a couple of ideas about that. If you wouldn't mind to shoot me an email, we can continue that one-on-one if that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, guys, this call and our connection is proof that the guiding proverb for Envision is very much true, which is to go fast, go alone, to go far, go together. Thanks for your good work. And we will be in touch regarding our next meeting, which will probably happen in August to support your July vacation plans potentially. So look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks so much.
All right, have a great one.